Okay, Periscopers, my people. Sorry about that, just had to get comfortable. Anybody out there? Anybody out there this evening? I know it's Friday night and a lot of people are probably chilling tonight, but I thought I'd come on. Hey, Ernie, yes. How you doing? Glad you came on. I'm good. Had a good day. I've been delinquent in coming on and having this real talk dialogue with people. And so I figured I'd come on tonight before I head off to Slumberland. Again, as always, I encourage you to invite your followers. I encourage you to ask questions. This is the whole purpose of this Q&A, this real talk Q&A. I know that it's not always easy for people to be straight up and honest these days, but I don't subscribe to that, nor do I fit in that category. Your team lost, so party down, go and sleep already. My team lost. Referring to cricket. Yes, my team did lose in cricket. Yes, they did lose. But I'm not talking about cricket tonight. No cricket questions or dialogue tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about some of the questions that people have WhatsApped me or sent via other mediums. And I know that they do follow me on Periscope, so I know that's going to sleep hard. Yeah. Yeah, no, sleep is necessary. I've had a long week, a long birthday week, so it's definitely catching up with me. But one of the interesting questions that was asked recently is, in a female gay relationship, which one of you is the man? I can't tell you how many times I get that question. Which one of you is the man? And before I even start that dialogue, I'm going to encourage you once again to invite your followers, tweet it out for me, and encourage people to come on and hear this dialogue, because I think it's important that we have more conversations, more open conversations around this topic. I think too often people are misguided and misinformed, and as a result, their education around and their fears around gay people are tainted, really. I think that people often just are afraid to accept that there is not too much difference between gay people and straight people. If anything, it's encrusted in the bedroom. That's really the only difference between us and them. And so when we start to ask this question about which one of you is the man, I guess it's like asking in a heterosexual relationship, well, which one of you is in charge? Which one of you is in control? A lot of people will say, and I've heard this term often used, oh, well, she wears the pants in that family. And I get it that we associate wearing pants with masculinity, and if we go by the Bible again, you hear that saying that the man is the head of the household. So I'm assuming that when people are saying which one of you is the man, that they mean which one of you is the head, or which one of you is in charge or has the most control. And so if that is the assumption, then my response, as often as my response, is that there is no man. We're both women. And so when it comes to that question of who's in charge or who's in control, I believe even if I was in a heterosexual relationship, everybody has talents. And whatever your talent is, you should have control over. If I am in a relationship with somebody that is a better cook than I am, then they're going to be responsible for the cooking generally. And since I'm a very terrible, terrible cook, that's probably easy for somebody to have control over. When it comes to finance, and even if it was a man, how? Exactly. When it comes to finance, and organization, that is my forte. And if I'm in a relationship with someone who's not good in that area, then absolutely I would be in charge of finance. And so I think that you go down the list of tasks that are involved in a relationship, and you decide, and you both decide, who is better at it. It makes absolutely no sense to me, and I've seen this in relationships, where just because you're the man, you're responsible for paying the bills and financing and taking care of the family, and it is not your forte. You're just not good at it. I've seen people in relationships stick with the same old. The man has to be in charge of the money. The man has to be in charge of the finances. And even though he's terrible at it, even though he's running that family into debt, even though he's irresponsible and not paying the bills, he's still doing it. And so, how does it make sense to me? It doesn't make sense to me. There are things that I can categorically tell you when it comes to planning functions and planning vacations. Not my forte. I would very easily just wait to hear how much I have to pay on a vacation, and I'm good to go, because organizing and planning vacations and parties and that sort of stuff is not my forte. Like I said, just tell me how much it costs, and I'll give you the money. But when it comes to, say, if you're planning to buy a car, if you're planning to make any big ticket purchases, I'm your person. If it's documentation, if it's advice that you need on legal matters, if you're and advice that you need on any type of business related matters, I'm the person in that relationship. And so it's never about who's the man. It's who's got the best talents in any given area. And so, I mean, that wipes out for me the obvious, or the not so obvious, implication of that question. And so that would leave the bedroom implication of that question. And so the real talk about it is, there is no man in the bedroom in my relationship, which is why I'm not with a man. And so I would need a definition of what does one mean when they say who is the man in the bedroom. Are they talking about, well, who uses a strap-on or who likes penetration? I mean, those are questions that I can categorically tell you have no definitive answer, even in the heterosexual bedroom. I mean, if we really want to have a conversation about it, there are men who like penetration, just like women who like penetration. So if a heterosexual couple are engaging in penetration by all parties, then what does that make that relationship? It doesn't make it any different than what it is a heterosexual relationship. If the couple's exploring different sexual adventures, I guess you would want to say. I don't know exactly what I would call it, but I say all that to say this is that people make their decisions inside the bedrooms according to their preferences and tastes. I know this sounds so disappointing because everybody would want me to say, oh, well, I'm the man because I like dressing more in masculine clothes. And it's just not true. I've been in relationships with women who are very dominant, who dress just like women, girly girls, as you would say. And they are very, very dominant. So, listen, don't let those dresses fool you. The same way that I could pick out 10 guys who will tell me that they're in a relationship with a woman who's very dominant. And we've all seen it. We've all seen those relationships with the women are very dominant in those relationships. And they're clearly heterosexual relationships. So I think as people, we need to stop trying to put labels on everything and everybody. We really do. We need to stop putting labels on people. I mean, Jesus, I don't even know how we even survive sometimes with all the labels that we put on ourselves and people want to put on us. At the end of the day, everybody, every day, every minute gets to make choices. For me, that's all life is about. That's all we're doing all day is making choices, making choices. I think we just have to respect other people's choices and other people's preferences and likes. Because that's all that it comes down to at the end of the day. That's all that it comes down to. Absolutely, yes. That is the key. Respecting. And I often sit down and I say, imagine how the world would be if everybody just let everybody live. If we just stayed out of everybody else's business and let everybody just live their life. Imagine that. Imagine that. Mercy. Utopia, I imagine. The world would be a lot nicer. And not only nicer, but we would all be just okay. We would all be okay. It would be more peaceful because nobody would be up in anybody else's business. And I think that's what's important. Sometimes, people come to you and they say, oh, wow, so and so, I heard that so and so likes to bend her husband over and penetrate him with a dildo, he must be gay. And I say, why? Why would you say he's gay? Well, if he likes to be bent over, he must be gay. And I'm like, no. His sexuality and his sexual orientation is defined, and it is what it is. He has some sexual likes, but that doesn't make him gay. And that's the thing. That's the key right there. Sexual orientation and sexual likes in the bedroom are two entirely different things. Two entirely different things. And when we begin to understand that, when we begin, what goes on in the bedroom is up to those individuals. Exactly. When we begin to think, to realize that sexual orientation, sexual likes, or sexual preferences, sexual in the bedroom, and outer appearance are different. They're different. Sometimes they're related, and sometimes they are not. And I'll give you a prime example of those three things. You would have a gay woman who identifies herself as a gay woman, who dresses in masculine clothing, but who likes to be penetrated. Who are freaks in the bed, that's okay for them. So, given that example, people would be thoroughly confused. They would say, well, how could she be gay, dressing like a man, and like to get penetrated? She might as well be with a man. No, she might as well not be with a man because she's still gay. It's just that in the bedroom, she prefers penetration. So again, we get down to this. Those things are separate. And at the end of the day, in that whole scenario, the only thing that matters is how that person identifies themselves and how they choose to live their life. It has nothing to do with you unless you are in a relationship with them. Imagine that. The only reason how somebody else lives has anything to do with you is if you are in a relationship with them. And unless they force it on you, listen, if anybody's forcing anything on you, that's criminal. So that's a whole separate issue. Ain't nobody forcing anything on anybody that they don't want unless it's criminal. And there is more criminal activity in heterosexual relationships than there will ever be in gay relationships. There are more pedophiles and child molesters and rapists that are heterosexual than will ever be within the LGBT community. So let's get that straight once and for all. The stats will tell you that beyond a shadow of a doubt. So it always amazes me when people are attacking the LGBTQ community, that people are quick to say, well, they're pedophiles and they're rapists and they're molesters and they're this and they're that. Get your facts straight. Get your facts straight. You should worry more about the heterosexual men in your family that are going to molest your daughters than you should be worried about the gay man that lives across the street molesting your child or your sons. The likelihood is slim. You need to worry about the pedophiles within your own families. Your fathers, your brothers, your uncles that are predators, that are right now as this moment as we speak, molesting your daughters. It is outrageously high in this country. And we don't talk about that enough. But yet we're all up in arms about gay marriage. And these are the things that frustrate me. These are the things that frustrate me. Because when we talk about the morality of this country, we never talk about the morality of the molesters that we have in our families. We never talk about the number of women in this country who have been molested before the age of 10 in this country. So if we want to have a real conversation about morality in this country, let's have a real conversation. And if the churches really want to do something, let's do something about that. Let's have a real conversation about the molesters that we continue to harbor up in our churches. You know, let's talk about the so-called people of standard that we know are molesting children. The men in their 20s that are running around here were dating 15 and 16 and burly 17-year-olds. Let's talk about that. And shameful on our religious community who continues to turn a blind eye on that. Continue to turn a blind eye because they're so obsessed with who I'm going to marry. So if we want to start having real conversations about the morality in this country, let's have a real conversation about it. But you can cherry pick. You cannot cherry pick. That's my piece for this evening. And absolutely share. Bugging my mind. What's bugging my mind? Yeah, bugs your mind. What bugs your mind? Exactly. Bugs my mind how they cherry pick too. So I'm going to encourage you to share this video. Let's get the word out. Let's start to have a real dialogue Let's invite your followers to follow along so that we can really start to have conversations around this issue. So that's my piece for this evening. I'm going to head off to bed. And for those of you who follow me on Facebook, look out for this video. I'm going to be sharing it, and I want you to encourage your followers and your Facebook friends to share it too. All right, people. As I say all the time, peace. Live, live. Don't just exist. Peace. I'm trying absolutely to stop the broadcast, but sometimes this broadcast button gets stuck. I know, right? All right, people, let's try to end this again.